Alright, this video right here is a video called Why I Quit World of Warcraft in 2025. A video by Moopless. Hope I said that somewhat correctly. I've seen some videos from him in the past. I haven't seen one in a little bit, so we're gonna check this one out. And I mean, before I say anything, or before we watch anything, we don't quit, do we? We just take breaks. That's the meme in the WoW community. We don't quit, we just take breaks. I've taken a 1-year break myself. Back, I don't know when this was. I think it was 2018. Between 2017 and 2018, basically at the beginning of Legion, I burned myself out way too much farming artifact power, farming random legendaries, and doing those things, and it took a year playing Rocket League. Rocket League had just come out. I was absolutely hooked on Rocket League, and I didn't really intend on quitting WoW at all. I just started playing Rocket League, and suddenly a week had gone by, hadn't logged into WoW, 2 months had gone by, and I just kept playing Rocket League. I came back at the end of Legion, by the way, very good patch. They had fixed just about all the problems that I had throughout the expansion, but yeah, I took a year break, and that is probably the longest break that I had. That wasn't even intended to be a break. I just happened to get really caught up in a different game. Either way, that's a long story nobody asked for, so let's check out the video, shall we?
Have you ever seen that meme of the guy who's breaking free of his handcuffs? Well, that's how I feel as of recently, because I ended up canceling my World of Warcraft subscription. And I know a lot of you are probably thinking, this is just the normal, true cycle of any World of Warcraft player.
Circle is now complete.
I guess you could say the circle is now complete, because as of today, I don't have an active subscription in this video game. Now, is that to say I'll never return to World of Warcraft? I mean, I don't know. I think most people just take breaks from World of Warcraft. They don't quit the game. Am I excited for TBC? Yeah, I've never played the expansion at all. I bought a used vintage guidebook, and I figured kind of be cool to only use the guidebook to progress through the expansion. Sometime in 2026, I'll have a collector's edition of Midnight arrive at my doorstep, and that comes with 30 days of game time. But aside from that, I don't know how much longer I'll jump back into the world.
Bro has the physical collector's edition as well. Dude, I want that. For some reason, when I was trying to buy it, I couldn't. It was either sold out or didn't ship to, like, none in North America. I don't know.
World of Azeroth. So in today's video, I'm going to talk to you guys about why I personally have taken a step away from playing the video game. Maybe you guys have the same opinion, maybe you don't, but I'd love to just share some details as to why I no longer feel interested in playing World of Warcraft. So without further ado, let's go ahead and roll on into it. There are 5 specific reasons as to why I don't want to play World of Warcraft, at least for the time being. The first one is that Blizzard Entertainment is double dipping into its monetization as to how they handle making money from World of Warcraft.
There's so much I wanna go on like a half-hour rant on this topic as well, but I feel like every time I do, I just get pushback. The more I want microtransactions to not be a part of WoW, and the more I want level boosts to not be a part of WoW, the more pushback I get from people in the literal YouTube comments who is just like, but they need to make money, man. What if I want to buy the boost, man? What if I don't want to play the game? What if I just want to buy the boost and buy gear? What if I want to swipe my credit card, man? The more I try to defend not having pay-to-win mechanics in the game, the more some pay-to-win Andy in the comment just try to hate on me. I feel like I'm just farming hate. Even though all I want is for the game to be an escape from real life and not have a real life currency be a major part of the game that I play. And then there's some dude who's like a multi-billionaire in real life who just wants to pay his way to max level, pay his way to best in slot gear, buy 100 alts to do tailoring cooldown crafting on. Bro, just let video games be video games, yeah?
If you want to play WoW, you need a subscription. Of course, there is this free trial where you can play up to level 20, but you're very limited as to what you can do in the game. You can't really
Can I say something, by the way? I have played a little bit of Guild Wars recently. Yes, I've actually tried out Guild Wars now, after edging Guild Wars for probably way too long, just talking about the fact that I want to try it out. I've finally actually tried it out, and I think World of Warcraft, or Blizzard in this case, can learn a little bit about their free-to-play model. Because when you play Guild Wars and you try out the free-to-play version, you can basically play the entire game, but you are locked out of the most recent expansions. You would have to buy those, and also you have to pay. At least for now, I got a 10-hour trial mount, and after those 10 hours you have to buy an expansion to get a mount, or maybe you get one at a higher level. But it just restricts you a little bit, but you're still able to level up all the way, experience your class, experience a lot more gameplay than just being level 20. I think WoW could do the same. So for example, right now in the Warbit Inn, why not just have everything except the Warbit Inn be free to play? And not just for like 10 days or 1 month, have it be free to play. But not having access to the auction house, not having access to trading, just lock yourself out of the community so bots can't like mess around with this in some way, shape or form. Just, the game is free until level 70, because level 70 to 80 is current expansion content, so level 1 to 70 is free, and you can do just about everything in the game. And just put other restrictions, but restricting you to level 20, you don't really get a feel of what the game is. It is a very bad trial experience.
Message other players by not being able to whisper them. You can't have other players trade you, and you're also capped on the amount of gold that your character can have. So of course, if players want to continue their adventure in Azeroth, they're gonna be paying for a subscription. On top of that, Blizzard has an in-game store. They're selling mounts, they're selling armor skins, mini pets, toys. Heck, you can even pay money to boost your character to the max level.
What?
And I'm not a fan of this at all. I mean, most of the time when I log into World of Warcraft, I'm not looking at the in-game store, but I'm not a big fan about it because I already pay a subscription, and now you want me to pay money to acquire other items? And for the record, I'm not against this model of monetization, having an in-game store at least, right? Look at other games that sell skins.
I don't really have a problem with that either. It's when you start double, triple, and quadruple dipping on all the ways to monetize the game. Because, like, many games follow a two-step formula for monetizing their game, where you either have a box price, or you have a sub fee, or you have in-game transactions. WoW does all of them. You have to pay for the game, you then have to pay to play the game through a monthly sub, and then you have in-game cosmetics. They literally sell you in-game gold through the WoW token as well, and then you have in-game amounts. There's so many ways that they are now monetizing the game. Player housing is coming out as well, and you know they're already monetizing that as well. They're going to be selling you some sort of like home steel currency. I think it was called home steel, bound steel. I have no idea. Some sort of a weird player housing currency that they're milking so much cash, dude.
Fortnite, the item shop, there's tons of skins you can buy there. Guild Wars 2, you can buy mounts, skins. You can also pay money to boost your character in that game if you really want a max leveled character. But the reason why I'm okay with Fortnite and Guild Wars 2 having in-game stores, there's no forced subscription that you need to pay for these video games. All you have to do is install the game, launch the game, and you can play the game. And if you don't want to spend any money, just don't open the store and spend money on any skins. For World of Warcraft, sure, yeah, you can ignore the in-game store, but you're gonna need a subscription to play the game. But things get even worse for World of Warcraft. The first big red flag that I saw recently was Blizzard is selling a mount that comes with a mailbox and a trading box included. And sure, okay, yeah, that's really beneficial for a player to have. 78 euros for a mount that has these features? I don't know, that.
And this is also when it starts being less about selling cosmetics and more about actual pay to win and selling you things that you otherwise don't have access to in the game. Because there are no other mounts that you can achieve by regular gameplay. in order to get something like this. There are no other mounts with both a mailbox and an auctioneer on it. And yes, you can say, oh, but they're selling gold, so you can just like farm gold in the game and then buy a WoW token and then convert the WoW token to Blizzard balance and then get the mount for free. Yeah, enjoy. You're gonna spend 300 hours farming for that, by the way. So in that essence, this is basically a legal loophole for them, plus also a loophole to get the community to be on their side, because now pretty much everything in the game you can get by playing the game, because even the things that you pay money for, you can now get through WoW tokens, but that's such an easy sellout, and it still sucks. If you're gonna put something on the shop, at least have a version of it that you can get in the game as well. I'm not really against selling skins, but when you start selling mounts that has utility that no other mounts in the game has, that's I don't like it, man. Especially when you also have a box price, you have a sub fee, you sell the WoW token. Like, soon, they're probably gonna have to, we're gonna have to get charged to do raids. You wanna enter a raid? Here, pay $5. You wanna enter a dungeon? Here, pay $5. It's gonna turn into EA.
It just seems a little weird. The next big thing that I saw that left a huge bad taste in my mouth is with the up-and-coming expansion, Midnight. Players are going to be able to customize an in-game house within the game, so a lot of people are really excited. Right. I got to try it out at Gamescom, and I had a fun time decorating a house for 10+ minutes when I got to try the demo on the Gamescom floor. Then, recently, Blizzard announced that they're adding a new currency called Hearthsteel. And with Hearthsteel, you have to acquire it by spending real-world money. And once you have this currency, you can buy items in the in-game shop. And with these items, you can place them in your house, like house decorations, chairs, couch. I don't know what they have in mind, but they're going to be selling housing decor in the in-game shop. And I'm not the only content creator to voice out loud, this is a horrible idea. Like, we're taking a step in a really wrong direction for monetizing World of Warcraft. There are some players that they don't care and they'll buy those items, and that's fine. But me personally, if I'm paying a subscription and you want me to buy in-game skins? I don't know. This just leaves a horrible taste in my mouth. Now, I know there will be players that will say, wait a second, Moopless, you can still acquire items just by playing the game naturally, and that's great. But I think the big thing that I don't like is I'm paying a subscription. The cherry on top is you're also selling items on top of it. I have to give out more cash to acquire everything. What if I'm a collector and I just want to have everything? I got to fork over money on top of my subscription. And I don't know, I just don't like how the monetization side of things is moving forward. And the only way I would sway my opinion to accept this is if Blizzard took the same approach that Jagex has done with old school RuneScape. Old school RuneScape is a game that you can play totally for free. You're limited as to what skills you can train and what type of content you can access in the game, because if you don't have membership, there are things that are locked behind a subscription. However, you don't have to pay a subscription to become a member. If you just make enough gold in the game, you can go to the Grand Exchange or the trading post in the game, and you can use your in-game gold to buy a membership bond and redeem that to become a member for 15 days, 30 days. It depends on how many bonds you buy. Essentially, I can spend my time in-game making gold, and with that gold, I can buy membership without having to swipe my credit card. It might take a while, obviously, but I can still play the game and progress towards a membership. In World of Warcraft, it'd be great if I could do that too. I know you can buy a WoW token with your gold, but what if your membership expires? You're kind of capped at not being able to use the gold that you have. That's where I'm like, I really don't like how Blizzard is monetizing their game. If they take the same approach that Jagex does, I would be swayed over a little bit. So that's the first big reason as to why I canceled my WoW subscription. The second reason is that Blizzard doesn't seem to listen to their community. Maybe they do listen, but they're not doing a good job of acknowledging it. I mean, let's take a look at the first example I already gave in this video, Hearthsteel. This is a currency that many other WoW content creators have said, this is a horrible idea, and well, Blizzard's still like, we're gonna at it. It's okay. Let's take a look at classic World of Warcraft. There's a ton of players that are super hyped for the Burning Crusade re-releasing, but a lot of players want to play that expansion a bit differently. They want to hop into the hardcore version of that game. And Blizzard Entertainment, they look at players and they go, no, no, we're not going to have an official hardcore server that you can play on the Burning Crusade. If you want to do that, essentially you need to have an add-on. And Blizzard's already trying to take steps away to make sure players, at least in retail WoW, they don't have to have a million add-ons to enjoy the game. A lot of players really want an official, the Burning Crusade hardcore realm/server, and Blizzard's just not delivering on that front. I mean, look at how many people are crying for Classic Plus, and I'm sure they're working on something, but
here's the thing, right? I don't understand why Blizzard doesn't do that. Because yes, you can sit there and be, TBC was never intended to be for hardcore. It's a hard game. Wow. Like, dude, there's been so many weird examples of how TBC is not meant for hardcore, that all of those same examples can be made in Classic WoW as well. People are pointing to a certain raid boss in TBC that is one-shotting you. Well, it puts like a dot on you or like a damage over time on you that will one-shot you. And guess what? We have the same thing in Classic in BWL. You Hearthstone with that on you, and you're fine. And the same thing goes in TBC. If you Hearthstone with that on you, you are still fine. Flask of Petri will still work in TBC as well, and it's a really easy survival mechanic. You just, if you're about to die, pop that, you're fine. It even drops combat in TBC as well, so it's really, really easy. And some people pointed to some weird boss fight that also was really weird in TBC, where one person can wipe a raid. Bro, did we learn nothing from Tiny Violin? This is literally a thing in Classic WoW as well. Somebody can wipe the entire raid on 4 horsemen, and that is one singular example. You can find multiple examples like that. In hardcore, there will be content like that, and the job is for the community to just blacklist those people that are there to grief the community. TBC hardcore is absolutely not impossible. It's not even hard for Blizzard to do. It probably takes one developer 1 week of work to make this a thing. And people are asking for it, and they don't want to deliver. Because minimum effort, maximum reward. It is the motto of the company.
there's no teasers, there's no hints, there's no be on the lookout, like we're developing Classic Plus right now, it's gonna be hype. I think as of now, at least in the
in the Classic Plus scene, by the way, it's so funny to me, but it also pisses me off a little bit, and it's why I've been covering Classic Plus way less, but I'm probably going to cover it anyway at some point again, so Blizzard doesn't care, because they know that I'm hooked. But basically, they told us, after giving us Nightmare Incursions in Season of Discovery, let us cook. And then after about April, I think this was, they've been silent, and the one time they said something, it was to gaslight us, the community, into thinking we are the problem. This was during the whole Titan Reforged controversy for China, where they said China is our #1 priority, and a couple of people, myself included, called them out for it, and essentially this is what they said: we are sorry you heard that. You were not supposed to hear that. That sentence was made for China only. You should not listen to what we tell to China. That's what I heard. That's what the tweet wrote. It was gaslighting us into thinking we are the problem for hearing what they said. We were not supposed to hear that. So, like, the one time they communicated about anything, it was to gaslight us, the community, into thinking we are the problem, when all we have been asking for now for over half a year is communication. It's not that hard to communicate, man. This is insane to me.
Classic scene.
The relationship with Classic WoW is arguably the most toxic relationship I've been in my entire life.
Players are just guessing what the future might be, and this means that if there's no communication from Blizzard's side as to what's to come, or we're listening and we're giving you specifically what you players want in the game, then they're just gonna branch out and play other video games. We've seen this in the streaming space for classic World of Warcraft. So I think if Blizzard does a better job of communicating with players and telling them, we hear you, we understand what you want, either we need more time for development, or we're working on something, or trying to meet halfway and go, guys, I really don't think Burning Crusade Hardcore is a good idea, but if you guys want to try, go for it. I think even that would make players happy. The third reason as to why I canceled my World of Warcraft subscription as well, it seems the player base is too split. And I know I was rambling about, maybe they should add a Burning Crusade Hardcore version, and That's simply because for streaming and getting players roped into the game, hardcore has done wonders for doing that. So I think that's something that should be there. But there's just way too many versions of World of Warcraft entirely. Retail World of Warcraft, yeah, that makes sense to have. Classic World of Warcraft, I mean, you need it. People love playing Classic. But what about the other game modes? Season of Discovery. You have Legion Remix on top of it. And you also have the normal version of Classic. Then you have Classic Hardcore. And then you have Burning Crusade Classic that will come out. It's like, is that like 6 or 7 different versions of WoW at that point? Not to mention, it also depends on what region you play on, right? If your homies are over there in the US and you play on EU, sorry, you can't play together. It also really is important, specifically in the Classic side, what server you play on. So if you play the same game mode, right, the Burning Crusade, well, it depends what server or realm you pick. And if you pick the wrong realm, you can't play with your friends, right? You got to start all over at level 1, right? There's just so many different variations of WoW. And then we also learn in other regions of the world, like China, they have a entirely different version of Classic that's getting specific updates and scaling. And it's like, why doesn't the US and EU get that kind of version? We want that one. And it just seems like the player base is just split everywhere. And of course, the golden years of World of Warcraft was back then when everyone was just on one specific version of the game. I know we'll never go back to that because some people love retail, some people love Classic, so you kind of have to have some variations, but I think we got to stop splitting the player base out entirely. If you're going to have multiple different versions of the game, yes, make them seasonal, but I'll be honest with you, Chief, I think we got to keep it very short and sweet. I think the best way moving forward is to just have a small handful of versions. You got to have retail, you got to have Classic. On top of that, for Classic, you probably have to have at least one hardcore version. And finally, we do need, hopefully, Classic Plus. The next reason as to why I'm no longer subscribed to World of Warcraft is, well, large-scale PvP isn't super good. And I'm saying this because I did give it a shot. I think it's the Warfront or the War Battlegrounds, whatever you call it. The large-scale PvP where it's like 20 versus 20 or 30 versus 30. You're fighting over castles, keeps, and all that kind of stuff. I had a really fun time trying it out on stream. I see it like that meme, right? Like, this is good, but another game does it so much better. For Guild Wars 2, if I want to hop into the large-scale PvP scene, which they call World versus World, there's no waiting around trying to get into a match like it is for World of Warcraft. See, for WoW, I'll queue up for the large-scale PvP, and well, I'll kind of wait around for 10 minutes, 15, sometimes 5. I mean, it just depends on how many players are on, and that kind of kills the vibe. Even Fortnite, they already know upfront players don't want to wait around for so long, and if they can't find 100 players to fill their next lobby, they're essentially filling the empty slots with bots. Some players recognize them, like myself, but other players, they have no slightest idea and they're still having fun. But for World of Warcraft, they wait for, at least that's a good thing, they wait to fill it with a bunch of real players, but man, you're just waiting.
Imagine seeing if you did Ultra Valley and there wasn't enough people queuing and half the enemy team is bots. That would feel so bad as well. Unless you have the same number of bots on per team. Imagine 40 actual Horde players versus 10 Alliance players and 30 bots. That would be so bad.
Waiting around. But what if you had the approach of Guild Wars 2? You could just load into large-scale PvP. How much more fun would that be? I do like the PvP in WoW. I think it's fun. The large scale is a blast, but just seems like with the waiting around, it kind of kills the vibe. And just like that meme, you know, World of Warcraft's PvP is good, but I think Guild Wars 2 does it a lot better. And the fifth and final reason as to why I'm not subscribed to World of Warcraft, it's nothing that Blizzard Entertainment can really change at all, but it's a personal reason. Next year, I'm gonna get married, and that's a big step in my personal life. Weddings are expensive, so if I'm not really hooked on WoW, I can cancel my subscription and save my money to go for my wedding. And I know I can own a house in World of Warcraft, at least when Midnight comes out, but let's be honest, I kind of want to own a house in real life, so saving up for that would be beneficial for my own life, right? Maybe one day in the future I'll have a kid or two. That's expensive as well. Maybe I should save money with that. I've really viewed my life, at least in my late 20s, of changing where I spend my money and being way more careful where I actually spend my time and my money. Now, I'm not saying you should cancel your subscription and get married and have kids in the future. Like, you do you. If you like playing World of Warcraft, like, I've had a blast playing the game so far, and maybe I'll come back in the future when Classic Plus releases, or I don't know, if enough people tell me to make TBC content, perhaps I'll do TBC for a little bit. But regardless, for the time being, I'm taking a break from WoW, and that's okay. There's plenty of other video games that I'll still continue to cover on my channel, Guild Wars 2, old school RuneScape, all that. And if you guys are interested in joining me on any of those adventures, feel free to pop by my Twitch stream. Would love to interact and chat with you guys. But for the time being, I do want to know in the comment section down below, do you still play World of Warcraft? Are you happy with the state of the game? If not, what other video games are on your radar? A big shout out to my Patreon supporters for supporting my content. Thank you guys very much. You made it all the way to the end of the video. Dankeschön, stay hydrated, and as always...
Great. Great. Nice. That was a good video, by the way. That was a very good video. I think it is, it's relatively healthy as well to take breaks from the game. So anybody who's not taking breaks from the game, consider it. To me, it, like, the few breaks I've had, it usually makes me come back to WoW with a different mindset as well. And it allows you to just not chase FOMO all the time. And also just, like, not even just taking breaks, but instead of playing the game for 10 hours a day, play it for 4. And then go and do something else.